Full of frustration. Full of despair. Two British football fans have had enough. The MLS UK Show.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the MLS UK Show. I'm Henry Hewitt, and as always I'm joined by...
Elliot Holman.
So Elliot, on the last episode we called it, we need to talk about the Club World Cup. We need to talk about it because no one else is. It's now here, so I guess we can devote the first couple of minutes to the episode to the Club World Cup, mainly because MLS haven't embarrassed ourselves. We've had a Miami draw, LAFC, a hearty defeat to Chelsea, and same with Seattle to that Brazilian team. Botafogo, is that how you pronounce it?
Botafogo.
Botafogo, sorry. Have you watched any of it? Have you paid attention to any of it so far?
Well, I watched Botafogo. Botafania. No, I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't. And this is how bad it is. I don't even have a job at the minute. I've got all the time in the world, and I still haven't watched it. To be honest, I would have really liked to have watched the LAFC game and the Miami game, of course. I just happened to be busy at the time. But yeah, for me, I've always got the relevance of the Club World Cup, and I think it's nice. You get the biggest, most successful clubs of the year to go and have a tournament. We never really normally hear much about it, and then a team emerges with a gold badge on their shirt for a few years, and we're like, oh, they won the Club World Cup. All of a sudden, this time round, they are pushing it. They're really pushing it, and still, I think. It's difficult after a full season of European football, and with MLS still in play, it's really difficult to be like, let's take in this tournament. Let's take in this summer tournament because, we're busy. MLS is still on. Leave us alone. Yeah,
well, we've got, a week off or 10 days off from MLS now, so maybe we can take it in a little bit more. But yeah, like you, I did actually watch the LAFC game, and I thought... it just seemed like a friendly game, to be honest. It seemed even the crowd was quite low for the stadium, for Atlanta Stadium, and the game itself was just at a lower tempo. So it just seemed like a bit of a friendly match that we'd get anyway. When European teams visit the States and Canada. I didn't watch Miami, but I saw the highlights. That seemed a bit more high intensity. Probably you'd expect that with two probably evenly matched teams. Messi almost scoring a few goals. His hero was the Miami goalkeeper. If there's a 38-year-old who's going to be the hero, I don't think I'd have chose Miami's goalkeeper, but he got his penalty save and made some really good saves. And then Seattle almost got a draw as well. So, yeah, it's been interesting so far, I guess, from that sense, from an MLS point of view. We'll see how they do in the next matches. We're recording this on Wednesday morning, but Thursday, we've got Miami versus Porto, Seattle v Atletico Madrid, and then on Friday, LAFC versus Esperance Tunis. I really need to learn how to pronounce team names that aren't really in English. But we were talking off air, actually, about the lack of an attendance at the Atlanta game. You didn't watch, the LAFC game in Atlanta. You obviously didn't watch it, but saw the pictures. What did you make of that?
Well, it looked like a normal Atlanta game from the last couple of years, to be honest, with it being that empty. No, I got really frustrated actually because they've invited so many football influencers to go and watch these games and fly over, presumably paid for them to fly over and go and I'm seeing football influencers who should be, in my book, very, very aware of MLS as an emerging league, a league which is really, really rapidly growing, producing a lot of talent and sending that talent over to Europe. It just proved to me that the Euro snobs are still 100% out in force. Walking into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium going, oh, wow, look at this stadium. Look at the roof. Does that open? Does the roof open? It's a shame it's not real grass. Look at this view from this bit. Apparently, this stadium's shared between two. I'm like, how are you seeing this stadium for the first time in your life? what, like, you're meant to be across all of this stuff. Almiron went to Newcastle from that stadium. I just, even if you only know it from Kanye doing Donda in that stadium, like, it really, really wound me up. I just thought, how are we still at a point where one of the best stadiums in the league, all right, Atlanta don't own it, but one of the better stadiums in the league is like a new thing to all of these people. And secondly, why are you choosing it when you know only 300 people are going to turn up? Because it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I guess, we'll have to see whether this could have a big impact on MLS and MLS stadiums. It could get people from Europe watching more MLS if they've been impressed with that sort of thing. To me, it's kind of just a warm-up for the World Cup next year. It kind of gives you an indication of what it's going to look like. I'd imagine the stadiums will be more full. I heard someone make a good point actually saying that with the increased amount of teams in the World Cup next year, you're probably going to get more results like the Bayern versus Auckland 10-0, which I don't know how I feel about that. But and who knows, maybe actually if you've got similar kickoff times, maybe we'll then start seeing low attendances if you've got, I don't know, with the greatest respect, I don't know, Ghana versus Tunisia, on a Tuesday afternoon. Maybe there won't be as many people watching that. So we'll have to see. That's for next year. The Club World Cup continues this year. Shout out to everyone who commented on the clip we put out on our socials. On X, there was a very positive comments, or more agreeing with us. Less so on TikTok. They were pointing out why are two English guys concentrating on MLS without the benefit of listening to his podcast and knowing that we still do watch the English League. We just happen to watch MLS as well. Which brings us on to this weekend in Major League Soccer. And Elliot, I'm going to throw it back to you. We'll talk about a few games that happened, maybe a few teams to concentrate on. Who do you want us to kick off with?
So I was DJing at a wedding on Saturday night, and it finished at midnight our time, which gave me half an hour to pack up and get home to watch the game that I chose. There was a few good options. Columbus Vancouver was definitely up there on paper, but I went for New England Revs versus FC Cincinnati, and I raced home and I missed the first 5 minutes, but I sat and watched that, and I was really excited for it. But Cincinnati either really turn it on, or they can win but be fairly boring. So they're on a bit of a hot streak. Got some crucial points, keeping them top three in the Eastern Conference. But to be honest with you, I'm a real fan of so many of their players. I think they could be so much better. Still, the ceiling for Cincinnati is so high when they all work together and when they all play really well together. So they've got MLS best 11s in all positions, I think. And so every time you see that they're about to play and they're about to play a good side, you think this could be a great game. So Cincy, for me, although doing really well still this season, could be a lot stronger.
Yeah, well, I suppose at this stage of a season, are you thinking it's all about league positions, about results you're getting, and then I guess you want to end the season on a hotter streak, to go into the playoffs, even though we have seen, look at Inter Miami last year, but you can end on the hottest streak, be record points total makers, and still go out in the first stage of the playoffs. But yeah, New England were a tough test, wasn't it? Away from home. How New England are still 11th when they've lost 2 in 12 is beyond me. I know they had a bad start, but so it's like Chicago. I just don't think New England, no matter what they do this year, are going to go above 8th in the table for some reason. There'll always be a reason why they're not there. But Kevin Denke got his 11th for the season. He's been a great signing for him, hasn't he, for Cincinnati? It's like you said there, they've got good players in each position, and it's all about clicking. And okay, they're second. They've been doing very well. They've had the moments where they've not, but on the whole, he's been a good signing for him, hasn't he?
Kevin Denke guarantees you two things: one, a shot on target, and two, a foul. He's got a foul in him. One of the highest foul rates in the whole league. But to be honest with you, so is Evander, and he's probably exactly the same, going to guarantee you a shot and a foul. But yeah, a fantastic signing. Definitely a threat up top all of the time. And, if he's not firing, you've got players in midfield who are going to do the same. And you've got defenders who are strong. This is a really, really good Cincinnati side, as I just said. But Denke been really impressive this season. And to be honest with you, I think he's got a real stab at Golden Boot over the course of a whole season.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about a few people who have a stab at that Golden Boot and maybe MVP later in this episode. But let's move on. You mentioned before you could have watched Columbus versus Vancouver. If you were late getting in from your DJing gig, then you would have missed all the action in this one. It was 1-1 after 6 minutes, 2-1 after about 23 minutes, and then it stayed like that. Columbus getting the first win in 7, a big win for them. They're up to 4th. We kind of hinted a few episodes ago that Columbus, maybe the lack of action in the window pre-season could do them a bit of harm, despite the fact they've got Wilfred Nancy, despite the fact they've got Diego Rossi and some other really good players. This is a big statement of intent, isn't it, to get the season back on track?
Yeah, absolutely. Not, like you say, not been great in the last 7, but it's unbeaten in the last 4, which is crucial. Keeping their hopes alive just a little bit. Rossi, 9 goals, 6 assists. Really, really firing for Columbus. So not as many as Denke in Cincinnati, but certainly leading that Columbus Crew side to a real possibility of a home tie in the playoffs, which ultimately is all that side need, and they'd probably be out for revenge, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Columbus, and I think it is just about getting playoffs. Obviously, it's nice to finish first or even second. Obviously, they'll want to finish above Cincinnati, but I think for them, it's more let's get into the playoffs. Let's make it as a less tricky situation, as you said there. We're getting the home games. Vancouver, on the other hand, are probably looking at it very differently. They've set the stall out early doors. They want to win Supporters' Shield. They're in a great chance to do it. However, things have happened in the last few weeks for Vancouver that is threatening to derail them. Obviously, we had the Champions Cup defeat, and then it comes out after that quite a few of the team got ill on that trip to Mexico, so that affected them. They needed to draft in some players from Vancouver Whitecaps too for the 3-0 victory over Seattle, which was great, by the way. And it's a shame we didn't do an episode after that, because we already big Vancouver up enough. The fact that they've gone into the second team, got players, and then beaten Seattle, we would have big them up even more. They've now lost this game against Columbus, and I was having a look at Vancouver because they've got a lot of players who are missing through the Gold Cup, a few injuries as well. Their next 6 games, they've got San Diego at home next, and then they've got 5 away games coming up in a row, including LAFC and San Diego in there. LA Galaxy, who I suppose are doing a little bit better than what they were, but where does this stand for Vancouver? Because you'd imagine they'd then have some home games in the next stage, the next run of fixtures. But this really has the potential to really derail their season a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think what you've just touched on is really important. I've watched Vancouver a couple of times this season when they've rotated heavily, brought in players you've never heard of, and still looked really good. And that's exactly why, it answers all of the questions people have got. How are they competing on all these fronts and still doing really well in the league? We haven't really seen that historically in MLS. Teams have completely sacrificed the first half of their MLS season if they're going to go deep in CONCACAF, for example. So they've done really well at bringing in, making it a very big squad and still grinding out results. To be honest with you, they're not going to be worried about facing LA Galaxy. I think LAFC sitting 4th in the West. The West is the weaker conference, and there is a much bigger gap between the top sides in the West to the mid-table sides. I think Vancouver, you just keep it clean. Even if they go and get a run of draws or ties, I think they just keep their hopes alive until they can get their squad back together and really attack. So I just think it's about keeping your head at this point. You're going to face challenges throughout these MLS seasons. We talked about it with Miami, Suarez needing a run of games, but also not being able to play loads of games. Same with Messi. Does he want to play on turf? Can he, at his age? He's proved he can, but the questions were asked: Can he do it? Can he keep up with the MLS schedule? I think it's the same. There's always a point in the MLS season where you're really tested. Vancouver are in the midst of that and still sitting pretty, so they'll just keep it clean, keep it tidy, and weather the storm. And I fully expect them to win the league this season.
Well, let's move to the East then, and it's Chicago. They've lost to Nashville. They couldn't avenge the 7-2 defeat from a few weeks ago. But I wanted to talk about this game and two teams in particular. First of all, with Chicago, they have announced a new stadium this week, which is fantastic for them. They've been playing at Soldier Field for a few years now, and we've discussed this. It's a great stadium, but it's never quite full. We have said before, there's a certain MLS teams where you look at Atlanta and Seattle where you think, okay, they're quite settled in their stadiums that they share with NFL teams. You've then got the likes of Chicago where you look and go, they probably just need their own stadium. They've released the designs. It's kind of in the same sort of box kind of design that you likes in Nashville have got, which is been successful. Austin kind of, as well in MLS. How big do you think this is for Chicago Fire to progress? Because the last few years they have stagnated a bit. They're doing okay this year, better than what we've seen them in recent years. Is this what they need to move on now?
Yeah, we saw them almost come home with Soldier Field a couple of years ago, and that's been a huge improvement. And this ownership group's been brilliant for this club. This is definitely what they need. I think it's what every club needs. I think it's great for Atlanta, as I use Mercedes-Benz Stadium as an example, because we talked about it earlier on in the episode. It's fantastic that it looks so grand and it's spectacular, and they can pack it out. That's great, but I think there's a real something in having something of your own. And remember, MLS went through a phase of making it a requirement. You join the league, you've got to build your own stadium. And there was a period sort of 10, 15 years ago where that was prevalent. But I think even if it doesn't benefit you on the field, I think there's huge benefits to owning your own stadium off it. And of course, any side that's getting their own, like Chicago Fire, this is long overdue. They've been in MLS a very, very long time, and to see them getting a place of their own is wonderful. So congratulations to them. I can't wait to visit.
Another thing in his match with Chicago, Philip Zinkenagel missed the game. Am I right in thinking, I don't know if you've seen this, that he missed the game to get married? Did I hear that right?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
My wife's at work. She's not here. She's not in earshot. Maybe she'd say something differently. But surely, Philip, get married at a different time. You don't have to. I've never heard of a footballer taking a match off to get married. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe this is a new way of thinking. Maybe, everyone out there, if this is true, I may have got the wrong end of the stick for this, but, if this is true, maybe in the comments we're going to get people saying, oh, well, you're old-fashioned, and yeah, sure, he should miss, you'd miss work to get married in any other job. But he's a professional soccer player. Just get married in winter. It's still nice. There's still nice
I think that's
areas.
The thing, though, isn't it? In Europe, they get married in off-season, and it's really nice. It's nice weather. I think you're struggling in Chicago in general. There's a lot of hairspray required for the bridesmaids in Chicago. And so, yeah, maybe you got to do it, strike while the iron's hot, literally. But yeah, I don't know. But you're right. In any other job, you just have the day off. So maybe that's exactly what's happened. But I think you're right to question his commitment to the club at this point.
But they're having 10 days off. Just do it. You could have played against Nashville and then done it the day after or 2 days after. I don't know.
Well, who knows? I mean, at least we know none of his teammates were at the wedding. we should mention Shaqiri because been in for a lot of criticism since joining Chicago Fire, but 7.33 rating on average for Shaqiri this season, much better. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah, he's gone on to not bigger things, but better things or better performances as Shaqiri. Right, Nashville. I mean, how great have Nashville been this season? Third in the East. They're kind of getting the form from a few years ago. You look at the front two. Hani Mukhtar, he's got goal involvements in 5 of the last 6 games. He's got 15 goal involvements this year. We were talking about Hani Mukhtar a few years ago. He got MVP. I think those are figures that he could be threatening to get it again this year. And then you got Sam Surridge, who's got 12 goals this season, 6 in his last 4. They've found the feet impressively, Nashville.
There is an episode early on this season where I talked about Sam Surridge and how fantastic I think he's been. Nashville are in danger at this point. It's great having a striker that's banging in goals like that. It's not just about the goals, though. He is just thirsty. You see him working and working and working. Real, for me, old school style striker. I love to watch Surridge play. Obviously, partnering him with Mukhtar is incredible. 7 goals, 5 assists. I really think both these two are... I mean, Surridge is ready to come back, shall we say, and I think Mukhtar definitely deserves a move as well. Now, do I want them to leave? No, absolutely not. And this is what we've talked about so many times on the pod. How do we now make these players stay in MLS, stay at Nashville, build a team around them? How do we give the clubs the power to do that? Obviously, the rules have changed. So we'll see if that can be effective. But there's no way that this summer there isn't clubs looking at Sam Surridge to bring him back to the UK. There's absolutely no way Nashville aren't fending off offers. They have to be. The man's incredible.
Yeah, well, all those scouts that are at the Club World Cup, if they could just avoid the Nashville area or Chicago on Saturday, then we'd appreciate that. Although on our social media, when we posted the photo you'd seen in Birmingham of a company that's logo would look like the Nashville badge.
Yeah.
Nashville responded, and then we put back saying, send Sam back over and he can sort them out. To which then a couple of their fans were like, no, keep him here. And we're like, well, no, we agree. We want him in MLS. So yeah, Nashville doing really well. I tell you what, normally we kind of stick towards the top end of the league, and there was a big game with Minnesota and San Diego at the top end of the West. But I just want to talk about the bottom of the West, because this was a hell of a game. St. Louis 3, LA Galaxy 3, and we always talk about LA Galaxy. Okay, they've unbeaten in 2 now, which is progress for them. Marco Reus, 2 really good, clever assists, even though I don't know if dummies are included as assists. I don't know whether he gets one for that, but he should do. So he contributed there. Gabriel Peck getting 2 goals. But João Klaus, hat-trick, 95th minute equaliser. João Klaus on his day is one of my favourite MLS strikers. And the reason for that is he's just old school. You look at his finishes, there's no messing around. If he can see the goal, he's smashing it in the top corner, no matter where he is. And I think that's brilliant.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, that was the case, that first season. No one knew how to handle him, did they? And I love that. I think, you're right. Very similar to Sam Surridge in a way, where he's really, really such a powerful player, really difficult to defend against, really difficult to know, is he suddenly going to be able to get a shot off? Sometimes it looks like he's going to take another couple of touches and he'll get it out of his feet and get a shot on target. So exactly right. St. Louis, still a little underwhelming, isn't it?
It is. They've improved, though, since sacking Olaf Melberg. They've got 7 goals in 3 now. So there's a positive. Apparently the players are quite happy with Critchley. So whether he gets the job full-time or not, we'll have to wait and see. But, if he can turn it around. Is it too much for them to get to playoffs? Probably at the moment. But, if you can turn it around, then who knows? Right, Elliot, before we close off, is there any other games you want to talk about or any other teams from the weekend?
I mean, we love MLS. We could go on forever, couldn't we? I'm taking a look at the teams around mid-table who are looking less and less likely to make the playoffs. So, you know, it's Houston Dynamo for me. It's RSL for me as well. DC and Atlanta look dead in the water as well. So I guess I'll push you on Atlanta. Is that it? It reckons less than 10% chance of making the playoffs now for the Five Stripes.
Yeah. Short
Cool.
answer.
Move on.
It's all done. No, I think the way they capitulated, I mean, New York City played well. They deserved the 4 goals. 4-0 defeat. This was on Thursday evening, but like, it was a mess. It was a real mess how they fell apart, Atlanta. They conceded the goal in the 44th minute, I think, which was a defensive mix-up, playing out for the back. And then by the 60th minute, they were 4-0 down. We've seen Atlanta turn things around before. It's not dead in the water. I don't know if Ronnie Dyler's getting anything out of his team. We expected a lot better, so questions have to be asked of him. Obviously embarrassing for him to go to his former team and get battered like we did, but we said before the season that it's the home form that's going to take Atlanta this year, but they've not won in 8 away games, and even though we didn't expect much away, you kind of, if you're going to even scrape in the playoffs, you've got to get some results away from home. So, poor for me, for Atlanta. I don't think they're going to do it. NYCFC, they've got the second best home form in MLS, and they're in 7th in the East, so they're probably doing what we expected Atlanta to do this year, but Atlanta aren't.
Smug smile.
We'll just run through a few of the other, let's say, bullet points to round off the weekend. Portland let slip a 1-0 lead against 10-men San Jose in the 93rd minute. Philadelphia, this was the moment for the weekend for me. Marcus Anderson, what a moment for him. Drafted him from Philly 2. Got his first goal from 98th minute. Philly not lost since April. Unbeaten at home since March. They're top of the East, and they deserve to be there. They've really turned it around in a way that with a new manager, we thought they might struggle. We thought it might be a bit of a transitional season for him, but it's really not, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. And to be honest with you, the only disappointment for me is I keep seeing Baribo listed as a goal scorer, and I keep seeing all these goals. Whenever I watch them live, he doesn't score. I don't know if I've seen him score in a game that I've watched of Philly yet. So if he could do that, that would be great. Because I think if I only watched the games I'd watched, I'd be like, it's been disappointing, hasn't it?
Austin beat New York Red Bulls 2-1. Brandon Vasquez with an own goal, and then to get the winner in that game. So he redeemed himself. You mentioned Houston. They lost 3-1 at home to Montreal. It's really poor from them, but great for Montreal. I still think it's basically they're 14 points off the playoffs, which is the same as LA Galaxy. So if we don't think LA Galaxy are going to get there, I don't think Montreal are going to get there. So building for next season for them. Minnesota 2, San Diego 4. We could have talked more about this one. What a game. And we've got, I guess we can talk about Andreas Dreher's first goal in this game, the equaliser from the halfway line. What a finish this was. He'd done well for Denmark in the week as well, so this guy's confidence is sky high, and you only attempt that if your confidence is sky high, don't you?
Yeah, and how many of those have we seen really in MLS? Maybe more than any league in the world. It's the goals from distance seem to fly in North America. But yeah, congratulations to him on a fantastic week. These games are still the one, aren't they? We've said this for years. We came to MLS for goals, and recently the defenses have got a lot stronger, and we've seen less and less of this. But I did manage to catch the thrills and spills of all the goals the other week. Was it last Saturday? And yeah, this was another one where we think, yeah, okay, this is what MLS is all about.
Yeah, he was for his great goal to his first goal, his second goal from the penalty spot. Was very lucky. It should have been saved. But you take the rough with the smooth. And Milan Iloski has become quite a super sub, scoring 2 very different goals. A fantastic header and running from his own half for San Diego. So they continue to do well. They're second in the West. Sporting KC 2, Dallas 4. Dallas have got the best away record in the West, so we should have expected that. Lucho Acosta scoring 2. Joe, who voice noted us on the last episode, he said that Dallas need to build a team around Acosta, and it's the other players that need to step up. around him. And, well, they're doing that. They're 3 unbeaten now and move up to 10th. You mentioned RSL. They beat DC 2-0. Watch the first goal, Johnny Russell's goal, because Troy Lesesne he's practically in the stands when that goal goes in. I think they meant to keep in their little area of the head coaches. Safe to say he wasn't in his area. And finally, Colorado 0, Orlando 1. A good win for Orlando, 2 in a row. My main take from this game, though, was it was nice to see Colorado's game in the daylight. I don't think I've seen Dick's Sporting Goods Park in daylight for well, it's only this time of year, isn't it, really? I've done it for 12 months, but it's nice.
And even still, it was a 2:30 kickoff in the morning for us. So it's just seeing any West Coast side playing in any form of daylight it would be incredible for us. But to be honest with you, yeah, Colorado, difficult side, tough side, having an up and down season. Had some away wins as well, so carried a little bit of a threat to Orlando. But really pleased to see the boys get the result. And apparently, Orlando 50-50 to make the playoffs. I think that's harsh. I think it's really harsh.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. I think you're more... I'd back you to make playoffs at this point. Right, well, on that note, it's time to finish this episode of the MLS UK show. Now, if you're more than 50-50 to return next time and listen to our next episode, then make sure it goes straight into your inbox, whether you are listening on your podcast provider or you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening on your podcast provider, though, then there's one rule and one rule only when it comes to leaving a rating, Elliot.
5 stars only.
Thank you. Please leave a review as well. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on anything that we've spoke about on this episode. We see your comments. A lot of very nice comments have come in the recent weeks saying that obviously, despite the fact that we are now old, we have now got kids, we are now basically recording whenever we can, you still are enjoying it as much as you were years ago when we used to do it every week. So thank you for that. We do appreciate that. But for now, well, we then go back and pick our kids up from nursery.
Yeah, gotta go.
I've been Henry Hewitt.
And I've been Elliot Holman.
See ya.